Hello and welcome everyone to our 4-year anniversary live stream slash monthly QA. We're multitasking this time around. So welcome. Yeah, as Jay was saying, we are facing technical difficulties for a change. And I seem to be unable to alt tab without the stream freezing. So I guess Jay will do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to stats, when it comes to numbers, and I will see what I can remember from from what I was working on earlier. But other than that, yeah, I think if the stream is working, we'll just wait for a minor confirmation.
Yeah, it seems to be
Yeah,
working on my phone.
J 2.0 exactly.
Yeah, the glasses and the stash.
Yep.
Now in for serious business.
But it's just, yeah. I'm impressed. I'm truly impressed. I should have done the same. If you told me you were going to do that, I would have let it grow out. We could have had 2 mustaches.
Well, I did give a tease yesterday on Instagram.
You did. Right, I'm going to see if but it just. I'm going to see if it freezes.
I have it open on my phone next to me, and it seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, but I think I've just frozen.
Oh, let me check the delay. If I clap my hands and wait for the visual. Oh, it definitely has frozen,
Yeah,
and it's unfrozen.
I'm going to see if.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. I don't. Oh, am I quiet? Let me increase my volume. Try and say something, Jay, so I can kind of normalize it.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
okay,
am
I can
talking.
see the difference. Let me put you down a bit. There we go. That should be better. But yeah, I really can't alt tab apparently. Still frozen.
Okay, so
If I do that.
well, one of the bingo cards is Jay's video is frozen. Does it count if it
There we
both?
go.
I guess mine is frozen at some point, so it does count towards the bingo. So
Yeah.
those playing bingo at home, you can check that off if you have that one.
So yeah, so I can't even access like the list of what we were going to talk about today. So like I'm just all I am right now is a pretty face, and that's it. Ah,
Don't
technical
worry,
difficulties.
I have the list here, and I'm closer to the
Yeah, he's closer.
computer side of
I
the
can get
ladder.
closer if you really want, but I prefer to lean back. I'll get a bit closer. Wing it. Yeah, wing it.
Wing it.
So
Yeah.
we had to speak about. Oh shit, I forgot. I know some of it, but I don't remember the order that we decided to talk about
Okay,
things.
I'm now taking over. I have the glasses and the stash, so I'm the boss now.
You are the boss. Okay, boss,
So,
tell me.
so firstly, thank you everyone for joining in our 4-year anniversary stream. Kanka turns 4 around the end of the month-ish. When you all know the story by now. I was looking for world building software to build my world for my D&D campaign, and was unhappy with the offerings I could find online. So I decided to start my own over the course of a couple of days a week. Posted on Reddit. Never expected it to become anything else than a weekend project. And here we are today, celebrating 4 years of Kanka. 4
Looking
crazy
like
years.
looking like a pilot.
Yeah, okay. Let me switch to the looking like a dad. And I have a sip of my
That looks like alcohol, Jay.
Jamaica. It's Jamaica, sadly unalcoholic. Because we are planning to go for quite a while for this live stream. We have a few things planned up for you guys joining in. Some sneak peeks at things we've been working on. And also a review of the year, what has transpired these last 12 months, what we hope to accomplish in the next 12 months, and some goodies towards the end. But before we start with all of that. First, I'd like to remind everyone there's a world building event going on, which just started this more today, which is silly illegal things. So an event, bedtime stories just ended, and a new one just started.
We'll be
Right.
announcing the winner of the previous one in the next few days, hopefully.
Yes, Ornstein, who is a judge on that, has received the links to all the entries, and will be announcing a winner soon. But for silly, illegal things, just we're curious to see what in your world is illegal, which sounds stupid, like wearing a hat close to a rainbow, and how did it happen? What happened in your world for such a law to be put in place, which stops people from doing weird, silly things? You can find that in Kanka. If you scroll down in the footer, the bottom of every page, you'll see a link, community events, where you'll find all the information on how to participate. Next up, we quickly go do a review of 1.16, which came out not long ago. Let me quickly open the link. 11th of October, yeah, on Monday or Tuesday, Monday, yeah, which was a fairly big update, probably one of the biggest one we've had this year, with 2 elements of the community vote, which happened at the end of last month, where you can now bulk transform entities. So if you've created 10 journals and realize, nope, you want them as quests or notes, you can now, the same way you can delete multiple entities at a time or edit multiple entities at a time, you can now select them and transform them. Jon, how confident do you feel about switching your screen over to mine?
Oh, that should be fine. I just can't go away from OBS. You mean
Okay.
you mean showcasing your
Yeah.
screen is what you're saying?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. There we go.
Okay. So if you have a few characters, let's take Adam Morley and Aaron Barr, and say you want to transform them into locations, you can now transform multiple entities at the same time. Another change was if you are editing a entity in your campaign and someone else opens to edit the same campaign at the same time, they will get a warning saying, hey, Adestis is currently editing this campaign, this entity. I surely want to also edit the entity, or try again later. That was it. APIs. Well, we've added filters on APIs, which are what you can use to interact with Kanka's database with external tools. So this is for people creating plugins like Foundry, BTTs, Kanka integration, or other stuff. You can now filter on the APIs results. Notifications have been slightly overhauled, so now we have the full text up here as a small indication if it's a new notification. You can mark them all as read without having to click on view all. And yeah, that was the small change to that. For boosted campaigns, which, oops, wrong link. There used to be a CSS field when you edited under boosted. There's a big CSS field that has now been moved over to theming, which allows you to create multiple styles for your campaign and enable them and disable them as you want to be more flexible for people who like customizing their boosted campaigns. This is not super interesting. Inventory tweaks, we just changed a bit the layout. And
Thank you, Ornstein.
very, very true. Cool vacation dad working from home versus overworked stress manager in the office.
I know which one I am.
So that was it for 1.16. You can find more information on blog.kanka.io. or if you go on Kanka, scroll down, you can find the link to the news. For some reason we've named it news here in the footer. That's it for the overview 1.16. Any questions related to some of the new features? Otherwise, we'll switch over to some more exciting stuff.
Yeah, I guess we've got to say, but if at any point you have any questions about anything we're talking about, or just questions in general, feel free to fire away. That's what this live stream is for. We obviously are going to go over some of the usual stuff, you know, your questions, the bingo, and whatnot. But we also we want to open a wider net this time around to anything really. We do this. I think we did this for the last review as well. We just kind of take a bit of stock of what's happened, what's going to happen, and just kind of have a chat with you guys, basically. So yeah, feel free to. I don't know. Yeah, so I still don't have
Nothing.
access to anything, so I still don't know what the next topic is.
Okay. The next topic is in the spring, the end of spring this year, we released a new design to entities.
Oh yes, yes, I remember now.
And we received a lot of feedback over that, where we ended up making a survey with, I think, 50 participants answering to our questions to better gauge how people liked this new design, what features were missing, what features were unclear, to kind of build stats based on survey rather than what people tell us in Discord.
Yep.
And so the surveys are closed. We started skimming through results, and basically, people, a large majority of people want profile information back on the story page in some way. So we are going to look into implementing that in the upcoming releases, since it is such an overwhelming majority.
Yeah,
How?
that's the
It was
question.
all over the place. Everyone had different ideas on how to implement it. So we'll be seeing what makes sense, what is easy to use for majority of users, what doesn't.
I think
Uh,
one thing that did come out, sort of joining the whole profile thing, is that users have by and large appreciated the much cleaner look that we have now. So we kind of want to keep that spirit while introducing more information that has now found its own profile, so that we can, make sure everyone's happy because it remains clean and easy to use and easy to understand. But of course, I guess we went a bit too far in the minimalistic look and we took away a bit too much information.
yeah. To I guess that kind of answers Charalampus's question. Did you get expected answers from the survey,
I
or
think
did anything surprise you?
I think Jay was a bit more surprised than I was at how many people wanted the profile back. I think I think that was a big surprise to Jay.
Yeah.
Um, I think I was I wasn't expecting it to be quite as like clearly in favor of the profile information, but I was expecting it to be in favor. As for other things that came out, I don't know if there's anything that really struck me. I think there's a lot of very good, sort of insights into how everyone uses Kanka and what kind of information or what kind of improvements. Like a lot of you really took the time to fill out this, like fill out a lot of the fields, and so that's really sort of brought up a lot of questions and a lot of ideas for moving forwards. I think personally, what I mean, we've always known this. Our mobile website is functional. It's not. We don't really aim for Kanka to be, perfectly optimized for mobile. But I think there are quite a few good suggestions that came out when it comes to changes we could make for mobile to make it just easier to use and easier to understand. And I think that was perhaps for me, that's one of the shining lights. Not shining lights, perhaps, but just like one of the things that I I've got my eye on, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Calampos, you're very much in the in a very small minority. Sorry to say. And yeah, just touching quickly on the 50 users responded. Honestly, that's not for Kanka. That's not a bad rate. Um, if we'd gotten 100, I would have been opening a champagne bottle, I think. If we even look at the amount of people who vote for community votes, we have what maybe about 100 on average who vote for community votes, as
I think
opposed to,
once we've hit 100. It's usually between 90 and just shy of 100.
and we have several hundred, like 5-ish hundred, 6-ish hundred subs, something like that. Maybe more because Patreon can vote as well, can't they?
Not goblins,
Okay,
but we don't have any.
we're well into the sort of the
Yeah.
600s when it comes to people who can vote for the community votes, and barely 100 do. So 50 people replying to the survey wasn't a bad. I mean, we were fairly happy with that result. We could always have kept it
Mhm.
going, and like I could have harassed a bit more, whatever. But 50 seemed fine for us. It's representative enough.
Yeah. A lot of people. Well, no, I don't have the stats to back this up, but I know of several members who who are subscribers, and they're just happy. They've been supporting Kanka since nearly 4 years, since there was a Patreon. Never talk into Discord, but they're linked. Um, Never vote, but they use Kanka and they're just happy to see it grow. And whatever decision we go with, they're like, sure, yo, go, do it.
Yeah, there's definitely trust, and we we're very thankful for that trust. But yeah, 50 is a good number. I think we were happy with that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, next time I expect 3,000 minimum.
Salvatos asked, coming back to something I showcased just before with 1.16, the campaign CSS stuff. Do you plan on doing more of the separate themes based on the original suggestion, which was separate rules for separate entities? Or are we stopping there for the moment? I think for the moment that's as far as we're going with that, because it wasn't a demand necessarily from the community. Um, um, to be able to have multiple rules, this is just something I decided to do based on that request. Um, and because it was something different to work on, and also to fix some few caching issues with the previous themes had. So I was fixing that, and I decided to do the rest. Otherwise, yeah, that was it. Back to the survey. Yeah, so 50, like John said, 50 replies. Happy with that. Um, More is always good, but already 50 is it means it's not just a few loud voices who will influence the direction the
Yeah,
changes we'll do, which was the problem with Discord, where once a week or every couple of days someone complains about a change. Now at least we have a larger sample of both happy and less happy people with the changes to be able to gauge in which direction to make changes.
but that being said, like I think other than the profile stuff, everyone's very happy with the changes. I don't know that that was necessarily surprising to us, but it was nice to have it confirmed that other than the whole profile information, this seems to be a positive change that people are very much enjoying and are very much sort of behind. So yeah, going back to the profile information, it's just about finding that balance to keep that clean, slightly more minimal look, while adding the information. So that's something we hope to be able to put in place, as Jay said, over the next few patches. Um, yeah, and then we'll be acting on a lot more of what came out in the surveys for the rest. We're going to talk to our designer this upcoming week and just kind of go from there. A for the profile and B for other points moving forward.
Yep, that's it for the survey results. Now we can start having fun in talking about the yearly review, which is what everyone's been
What you're all waiting for.
All three of you watching the live stream. YouTube says free, or is that top chat? Free personas mirando ahora. 3 people watching. I don't know how correct that is.
That seems. I mean, I'm definitely connected. So, and we know there's Karalampos, Salvatos, and Jacob. So there are at least 4. But yeah, it's just a small committee, I guess.
Mhm.
Um,
So yeah, you can
Stats.
stop sharing the screen, John.
I can stop sharing the screen. Let's go back to
Yeah,
boom.
because otherwise people will realize I'm just reading from the blog post coming out tomorrow, which recaps what we're saying today.
I really need to sort out my lighting. I always appear like a vampire in these things. Sorry, it's stressing because the only thing I could look at because I can't alt tab is just like the OBS window. I see like you just like in a light, well illuminated spot, and me just like looking like a vampire with office lighting. It's just a bit depressing. Anyway,
Well, it's also 1:30 p.m. here, and the sun is out in southern Mexico. Nice weather, a warm 35 degrees. What was I
okay.
looking at? Chat.
Stats. So the first stat I'm
Okay.
going to share actually, because it's the one I really remember, is the number of accounts created. A year ago we were about 50,000. So it took 3 years to get to 50,000, and now we are just under 100,000. So
Like really close. Like next 2 weeks we'll hit 100,000.
yeah, that's something I think we're both quite happy with. Like that's a massive, I mean, doubling over the point. Yeah, I tried using my phone's flashlight actually, but like then I just kind of now it looks like a horror movie, and I can't really look at anything because like I've got a flashlight in my eyes. But yeah, I thought about it, and then like yeah, it's like I'm reinterpreting Resident Evil or something. Anyway, yeah, so we've basically doubled the number of accounts created in the past year, and
Yeah.
we're both very happy with that. That's quite big progress. I don't know that. I mean, it's easy to say that we weren't or we were expecting these things. I don't know that we necessarily make. I mean, I don't make predictions for number of users or number of accounts created. Um, I know Jay kind of keeps an eye on them and just kind of sees how it evolves month to month. But
When I remember, yeah.
yeah,
I have an Excel sheet and
but it's still
yeah, since we
nice.
passed
Yeah, go for it.
yeah. Since we passed 50,000, like 50,000, I think announced in the Discord 60,000, 75,000 maybe, and then I'm just kind of not being paying as much attention to it as they become just big numbers and it's difficult to wrap your head around. Like when it was posted on Reddit the first time that Kanka existed and 200 people created an account, I was like, why would 200 people create an account on this weird looking website which allows you to create characters, locations, and families? And yeah, now it's over 1,000, over. No, now we're getting over 100 a day, but consistently.
More than that, no?
It depends. Well, we have that problem with Google Ads and stuff, and
Yeah, that's true.
it fluctuates. Yeah, between around 150 consistently every day, and sometimes we have good days where it's 1,000 in a
Yeah,
day. So like someone shared Kanka in a Facebook group, and 1,000 people join. But yeah, 1,000 accounts, 100,000 accounts doesn't mean necessarily 100,000 active users.
no, of course.
When we look at accounts that logged in at least twice in
I
the
was going to
last
say,
3
but
months,
those stats are pretty good as well.
yeah, so about 17% or 17,000 accounts logged in twice during the last 3 months, and that used to be 24%. 17% is still a good number. Yeah,
If I remember well,
that
it
was
was 12,000 So it's 17,000 this time, which represents 17%. But if I remember well, it was 12,000 last time, which represented 24%. So it's still like 5,000 extra
Yeah.
sort of regular-ish users.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So of all the people who joined, about 10% keep active,
yeah, yeah. That's
continue. Yeah.
because we've gone from 50 to 100 and 5,000 extra actives. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we would prefer to have a slightly higher retention rate, but
Mhm.
I think when we're talking about such large numbers for such a small website, I think we're still quite happy.
Yeah. And another interesting stat is 12,000 accounts older than 3 months old logged in during the last 3 months, so about 12%. So those are older accounts who keep coming back.
Yeah. And I think that's up also quite substantially from a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. In my mind, it's 9,000 a year ago. So, it's
I
3,000
can.
extra, which is basically like, yeah, 33%. It's pretty decent. I think I have the
It
I
was
have the articles. I've got
6,000.
it was 6,000.
6,000. Yeah, 12%. It was the
Oh,
same
so
number.
we've
So we
doubled.
doubled
Oh, wow.
the number of people who stay long term.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a reaction video. Yeah, that's great. Okay, cool.
I've, a year ago, Guardian had more logins than I had in Kanka, and this year he's still in first place, and a runner-up has also overtaken me with close to 4,000 logins. Guardian up 7,000 logins into
It has to
the
be the
website.
API, right? Like, there's no way that's manual
That
labor.
was my assumption, but I'm not sure if logging in with the API, if that tracks.
7,000 a year. That's
No,
20 a
in
day.
total.
Oh, in total.
In
Sorry.
total.
I
In
was like,
four, it was 4,000 a year ago, and 3,000.
so that's basically
Yeah,
10
that's
a day, 10 logins a day. That
yeah.
seems like a
And there might be a bug in my system, or he logs out from his browser each time he closes the window.
who does that? What kind of psychopath are we talking about here?
Someone who creates themes for Kanka.
That's true. That's true. And sorry, who did you remind me?
um,
Who did you say second was?
um, I'm no longer 100% sure. It's not an active member of the community, so I don't want to out that person. So I didn't write down the name.
Fair enough.
It is a French user, as much as I remember.
Fair enough. If they're not active, we respect their privacy.
Biggest campaign, 286 members. That is still the same campaign from last year, which a year ago had 250. So they just keep adding members to their campaign. And probably each time someone in that campaign logs in, the servers crash. It's not the DOSs, it's just people in huge campaigns crashing everything because I didn't build Kanka to support such large numbers. Yeah. And the largest campaign entity count is about 12,000 entities. Um, 2 years ago, I was still in the top 10 with my 1,000 entities or so, and I haven't just kept up with world building. And so, yeah, 12,000 entities in a campaign is ridiculous and impressive and scary and frightening.
Impressive, yes, for sure. 12,000. Who is it? Is it public campaign or?
No,
Okay. What's the do you by any chance have the numbers of the largest public campaign?
you can see that by going on public campaigns.
Oh, okay.
The
Well,
auto
I
sort is
can't.
by. Okay, let me do it. So, public
I think it's the West
campaigns.
Marches one, actually, Jacob. So Jacob's question about one of the large campaigns not being boosted. If I remember well, it was the West Marches one, the one that has 286 members. I don't know if they're boosted
No,
now, but they
no,
weren't back then. No, still
I
not.
don't. Well, I didn't check. But the largest public campaign is still Chaos OS's Eberron with 2,300 entities.
Okay, that's what I would have expected actually. So that means most of the top 10 must be private then.
Yeah, there's a huge Romanian campaign, I think, with 4,000 entities.
Impressive.
Yeah. Anyhow, what else? Yeah. Total entities created. We aren't as exciting. I don't know if we can leave that for the blog.
Yeah.
But basically, the biggest entity count is characters, still with 480,000 characters in the Kanka database, with an extra 42,000 being deleted, where people delete lots of characters.
Isn't the public campaign entity count super wrong though? I don't know. Take it up with.
So on the public campaign, it skips some modules like tags, conversations, dice rolls. Something like that. So there is public campaign entity count is not the full number. If I go in app, HTTP. Oh, wrong place. Console.
You should not see
Come
private
on.
entities. Well, we don't have access to them. Of course, we have access to aggregate numbers in the database, but we don't have
Yeah,
access to specific private entities. No, to
yeah.
answer Jacob's question.
Unless, yeah, if I go and look in the database directly,
Yeah,
well, that's
I mean,
there's a lot of.
yeah. Ultimately, we are in control of the database, so yes. But there's no easy way for us to have a look at like a specific private entity. No.
Campaign counts. Oh, no, the public campaign entity count is based on the entities the public user can see. So the entity mustn't be private and be visible to the public
That's exactly what
role.
Jacob's follow-up question is. It's
Oh,
about he means the count of entities. So public campaigns with private entities.
yeah.
Is exactly what I was saying. So yeah, no, you're right, Jacob. Those do not get counted within the public campaigns. That's why I guess going back to Salvatos's point, that's why it's wrong, like more wrong than than you would expect. Because yeah,
Yeah.
all private
Well,
entities.
the number is what you can see as a public viewer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, that's about it.
You seem confused. Are we moving on to geography? Because I remember the first two.
Yeah, we can move to geography, so you can get excited by
Yeah.
your favorite stats.
Yeah, well, it's not so much my favorite stats once again because I can't alt tab, I can't do anything. I have to go back by what I remember and nothing else. And I remember that 32% of our users are from the US. That I remember. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's down a bit from last time round, though not
I,
substantially.
yeah, it was 34% a
There you
year
go.
ago,
And I
but the
think,
year before that it was 31. So it's
yeah, yeah, well, doesn't matter. Like, ultimately, we don't do this for the view counts. We do this because we enjoy your presence. And the second one, actually, the second biggest, still, I don't know why I still get excited about this because it's always the same. It's Brazil. Brazil has 13 to 14% of our user base. It was at 13.8. Did I remember that right, or was it just 13?
I wrote down 13. I didn't write down the decimal points.
13% of our users are in Brazil, and like that's I guess like it's been a thing for a while now. Kanka is big in Brazil. Like that's just we
Yeah,
just are,
role-playing games are big in Brazil.
and yeah, so that hasn't changed. We've maintained Brazil as a number two spot. I believe it's the only non-Western market. Well, I mean, I guess Brazil is in the Western world, but the only non sort of Europe, US market in the top 10, or anywhere near really. Um, so yeah, that's always a nice little piece of information. And I do not remember what the third position is, but I think from then on it goes down quite substantially. Though if I was to venture a guess, it would probably be Germany, UK, Canada, something like that, or
You're
France.
right on those three:
Okay.
Germany, UK, Canada, France, Spain, Italy, Australia, and a new. They've hardly moved from a year ago. The percentage points, the positions, they've just shuffled it a little bit. But new on the list is Poland in 10th place.
Yeah.
Thanks in part to our partners, Grammel Books, who helped translate the app in Polish. And they're
Yeah.
a publisher in Poland for RPGs and stuff. And they promote Kanka to their community, to the Polish community.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one sort of European market that we'd never really managed to properly get into, and I guess their help has been quite appreciated.
Mm.
Also, I mean, this goes back to the fact that, as far as I'm aware, Kanka's the only world building tool that's available in more than just English. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong on this one.
I haven't been keeping up with the competition.
Yeah, perhaps someone's implemented some other stuff, but historically, at least, we do have the largest and widest language support of any world building tool. So I think that's definitely always, I mean, it's definitely a factor for Brazil, and it's definitely a factor for um, other non-English speaking European countries, France, Germany being probably the two biggest European user bases that we have. Actually, yeah,
Yeah,
the Discord, the French Discord isn't completely. I mean, yeah, it's got a bit of activity every now and then.
yeah, we'll get a question once or twice a week in it. It's always limited to usually a question on how to use Kanka or if a feature exists.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there hasn't been like world building or DM prep geared to French speakers, that kind of conversation done there.
yeah. So yeah, I think
Anyway,
that wraps up the geographic stats.
yeah. Otherwise, on number of daily active users, so about 1,800 daily active users, which is up 20%. And these stats, I think, John, you understand these better because then we have daily. These are active, so these are different users, and then we have daily visits, which are between 2.2 and 2.8 thousand per day.
Yes.
And the difference,
I don't
I, I,
remember.
I still don't know. Okay.
I'm not going to pretend I don't remember.
But yeah.
But yeah, the it definitely has grown. The viewership has grown. The user base has grown, and yeah, there's definitely been like a COVID effect in both positive and negatives, right? There was the initial sort of COVID wave when was it last year, last February, March, where we just saw
Mhm.
exponential growth in users, and then it kind of topped out for a bit, stayed relatively stable, kind of went down a bit, and then went back up quite substantially at the beginning of the year, the first sort of 4 or 5 months of this year. And since then, I think with more and more people being vaccinated, more and more countries reopening, people, us included, have been enjoying, the outdoors a bit more,
And playing in person and
playing in
maybe
person.
less relying on digital tools.
Yeah, so we've definitely seen that like impact the amount of users that use Kanka. But but yeah, so it's been pretty much stable from memories. The 1.8 thousand daily users has kind of oscillated between 1.8 and 2.2 as well for the past 6 months or so. We just kind of go up, go down, go up, go down, depending on the season. Seasons have a big effect on this. Of course, summer, all of us are outside, right? You do have some sort of seasonality when it comes to northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, but because Australia, New Zealand, and the southern hemisphere in general is not where we have the majority of our users by far, it doesn't compensate as much when it's summer in the northern hemisphere. And I guess you
Well,
have,
so
yeah,
isn't something like 90% of humans live in the northern hemisphere?
I don't know. That that's beyond my knowledge. Wait, what did you say? Because I was reading and I'm not sure I fully
Is it
understood.
something like 90% of humans live on the northern hemisphere?
Does that sound right? I guess
Because biggest countries would be like South Africa, Australia,
maybe you're
very
right.
southern tip of Brazil. Well, Brazil's population centers would be
They are
south.
south, though. Anyway, beyond the point.
Argentina, and that's about it
Um,
ish. I'm skipping
Yeah, perhaps Karen Boss. So Karen Boss, remarking that he finds Kanka more useful. But I think just in general, not just about not being useful in face to face, but just about people perhaps spending more time doing other things. I think we're not the only ones who've seen not a reduction in numbers, but just sort of a plateau as the seasons change. And if we think of last year as well, summer was a bit more calm. Though by now it had picked up already. Though we're seeing a bit of a pickup again. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But yeah, there's definitely seasonality to this. And apparently, yes, our YouTube fact checkers are agreeing with Jay. And there's not far off 90% of the total world population in the Northern Hemisphere. Learn something new every day.
there you go.
Cool. Moving on, I think, or do we?
Moving on, I have highlights of Kanka's third year. Of going through some of the big changes we had, good and bad.
Going back to the showcase?
I don't think we need to.
Okay,
I'm just basically using the blog post as bullet points.
that's fair.
Um, I'll just go through it basically and try and make it more appealing than just reading text. So one of the first big changes of the last 12 months was at the beginning of the year we released Kanka 1.0. This is a way that we reflected on Kanka's growth and evolution, but also to show that it isn't just a hobby project with alpha version 0.47 or whatever. Um, it is a lot of semantics, but also just as a product, it has grown, and to show that it's here to stay. At least we hope it's here to stay, and we'll do whatever necessary for it to stay and to keep working on it in the future.
I don't think it's just semantics, though.
Um,
It's also, like I mean, I almost want to say a badge of honor in the sense that we've hit that point where it made sense to move on to 1.0 as opposed to to stick with the alphas, as you're saying.
this last 12 months, we didn't release any new modules to Kanka. As towards the end, towards just before the 3 anniversary, we released timelines, and maps. Well, timelines was July 2020, because I remember being in Italy while I was working on it. But yeah, towards the end of. So yeah, we haven't added new types, but instead we've worked on the new entity design and reworked the whole entity nodes into posts and the stream of posts where there's no longer. We added pinned entity nodes and then made them the only option. We mentioned this before while going over the survey, but this was probably a most not contentious. How do you say when there's a
Yeah, divisive.
divisive change this year, and something we said with the survey will continue improving based on feedback. Um, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. One thing we introduced also at the end of just before the 3 anniversary is world building or community events. And they've had a mixed result from our end. We have a dedicated user base, but it hasn't expanded more than that. And we had a few conversations in the Discord with the participants, with the judges, on how we can make it more interesting. And there are some ideas that we'll pursue, um, but we don't have yet a clear roadmap. But it's definitely something we hope to make more interesting. Because our idea with Kanka, now that we built this tool to create your worlds, to let loose your creativity, is to be able to share. And
Hence the
um,
marketplace. The marketplace is the prime example of that sort of spirit, I think.
yeah, but also the community, the world building events, where the idea of create something interesting which not necessarily fits to your role playing needs, but might be an inspiration for other players. Where I see, oh, this cursed item now gives me suddenly a quest idea I could send my players on because it resonates with their goals or because it sounds interesting. So we definitely hope to change the way world building events work in the future, to make them more appealing to a wider array of
Wider
users.
audience, yeah.
Yeah. Um, which also content packs that you mentioned, or the marketplace, we introduced content packs, um, which again we imagine these as a way for people to create elements of story to then share with others, and that hasn't had also the we haven't seen people use that as much as what we envisioned. And part of it has to do with the interface, where you have to recreate everything in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Um, and also we have competitors, like if you're going to create a story or one shot or stuff like this, other tools like DM's Guild have a broader audience, where you're not just advertising to people just on Kanka, but to a wide audience. And that's something that we have to ah
Address.
sorry, what do you
Address.
say? Address, yeah. See how we can make it easier to use and more appealing to users. And we tried that with you created a content pack based on my world,
Yeah.
um,
But
and
honestly,
that
like
hasn't.
it has. I don't know that there are that many users, but even beyond that, going back to what you were saying a second ago, the fact that you have to recreate and re-import things, I feel personally is a bit of a barrier. It took me longer to do than it should have. Not,
Yeah,
it was just it seemed for information that had already all been inputted, it seemed like yeah, it was quite a lot of work because it's not as easy to like copy paste as a CSS theme. And I think that's why themes are a lot more popular because ultimately it's pretty easy to import a theme. But if you have to do that for
yes,
like 20 entities and create different entities each time and create the links and create it becomes like a process. You have to want to. It's not something that you just do for the giggles to see what happens.
yeah,
But
absolutely. So yeah, we'll see to address those in the upcoming year, of how we can improve that whole part.
yeah,
Jacob says, yes, the marketplace interface is a hindrance because Jacob created the SDR spell list.
yeah, yeah. The
Uh,
marketplace is something that needs some love. Um, we need to figure out how to just like make it better. I think it's one of those things where we had a great idea and we implemented it in the fastest way possible, and it serves a purpose, but ultimately it's not really it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's if we
the
compare
tool,
how far Kanka has come to the marketplace, the marketplace is still in alpha.
yeah, the tool doesn't address the expectations we
No,
have of it.
no. So I think that's
Um,
something we're hoping to put some effort in.
yeah. But another thing we did introduce this year, this last 12 months, based on user feedback, was the Vivant Pledge.
Yeah,
Because we had the Owlbear and the Elemental, and we had frequently people coming up to us that they want to support us more than the Owlbear pledge without having the means or wanting to go full elemental. So we introduced the Vivant Pledge for that, and it's been a great success.
Yeah.
Um, it took a while to take off. Like the first 3 or 4 months, it was there. We had a few early adopters, and now it's definitely doing getting more love.
Yeah, I think you had an early. I mean, ultimately, there's not a huge differentiation when it comes to features between wyverns and owlbears. It's I think at that point it's more about you believe in the project and you want to support the project. And we're always very grateful for that. But it's true that the immediate differentiation between an owlbear and a wyvern is minimal.
Well, it's the amount of boosts,
Yes, and
so you
you've
can
got
super
upload
boost
sizes as
through
well.
campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah, boosts and high upload size, but it's not necessarily. I don't know. I, I'd have to see stats on how many people need larger upload, like that much larger upload size. I know we have someone who needs very large maps, but with a very small handful of exceptions. Ah, well, there you go, Waldo. But yeah, anyway, it's good to see that there has been a bit more of an uptick in the number of wyverns, and that we didn't just do it for no reason. That people actually want this.
Mhm.
That's been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Um, yeah, on growth, I'm seeing in the blog post, 20 those last 12 months weren't as crazy as the 12 months prior to that. Mostly because we grew a lot um, in 2020 when Kanka became a business and you joined, John.
Yeah,
So when you joined, uh, it was very much just a hobby project of mine that I did on the side. And the first year you helped it to grow where, yeah, we are where we are now. And these last 12 months have been just continuing on that trend, but from a financial perspective, like accounts, number of people was just saying, yes, that's still growing very uh, fast, I guess.
yeah.
Um, Financially, the percentage changes. We're no longer doubling every couple of months or
No,
every,
but I think
yeah.
we also have to look at what we have and haven't done, and perhaps we made a few mistakes along the way. But also, just as importantly, I know that you and I, a year and a half ago when I joined, we weren't paying ourselves at all, and so 100% of the money that Kanka was making was being sort of plowed back into Kanka, into increasing awareness, into marketing, into getting some designer to do some icons or whatever. And I think that has largely tailed off. And over the past 6 months or so, you and I have given ourselves raises quite systematically just to get to a level where you and I are both comfortable and happy to live off. And now we're back in a stage where most of the entirety of the increase in our profits can go back into Kanka. So I think like putting things into perspective, I think it's to be expected that there was a bit of a slowdown because of also what we needed to do, and and I feel like we can look forward to another up period now. I mean, I hope. I hope.
Yeah, we all do. But also during these last 12 months, during the summer and or spring, end of spring this year and summer, we had an intern for the first time, which was an
Yeah,
exciting experience.
yeah,
Forced us to improve some of our processes and communication internally
yeah,
with the intern and between ourselves, and try and, yeah, just improve as how we run the business. It was we could no longer just have say, yeah, I'll do it, and forget about it because there was someone depending on us
yeah,
actually doing what we said we would do.
yeah,
Because otherwise there was no work for that person, and they'd just be idly playing with their thumbs. So that was an exciting experience, and we hope to repeat that in the future.
yeah. I think. I mean, we always say next summer, but I think we should by then be solidly in a position where we can do that. we'll have to see how the next few months go. But yeah, I'm hoping we can add another intern by end of year or next summer. It's obviously easier to get interns in the summer because that's when people are on holiday break.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And otherwise, last point on the year in review, one issue which has been plaguing us more recently are
yeah,
DDoS attacks, which are when random networks, DDoS networks, bots, target Kanka with several bots just target Kanka, sending lots of requests, crashing the server. And it's not targeted to our knowledge. It's just sadly the reality of having a website is that bots will see the website and the IP and decide, oh, let's try and keep our bots not uh, doing nothing but attacking websites. And they'll target Kanka for a couple of hours or days and then move on to something else. So it's something we've had to deal with at a higher as we grow and become.
yeah. This year's been a lot more problematic when it comes to DDoS.
Yeah, but it's sadly, yeah, part of the course. And recently did quite a few changes to our DDoS protection to try and at least mitigate some of the issues when it's activated. Because how it works, to get technical very quickly, um, when we get lots of requests, the servers crash, and I turn on Cloudflare, which is a service provider which filters requests before they go to our server. And I turn on protection where it forces people accessing Kanka during an attack to fill out a captcha to make sure they're humans. And so I turn that on, and when it looks like the requests have died down, I turn it off because bots will fail answering the captcha, and so the request will be blocked, and humans have to fill out this test or just click a button, and then it should be good to go for 30 minutes. Um, I don't know exactly how it works in more detail than that, but when it was active, it breaks stuff like Foundry BTT's plugin for Kanka. So worked to fixing that. And for the DDoS attacks themselves, crashing the servers, uh, the answer to that is adding more servers, which adds costs, and improving our infrastructure. So that's also something I'll address during the upcoming 12 months, is so that we can try and handle more concurrent requests by adding more caching into the app and figuring out how we can prevent this issue from getting worse.
Yeah,
Sadly, this will be a multi-month project, an ongoing project, for as long as Kanka exists, basically. It's not
yeah, of
something we can
course.
just ignore, have one solution and say, no more problems for 2 years.
That's the dream. But yes, it is literally a dream. It's not going to happen. Like, yeah. It has been. There have been quite a few spikes this year where I don't think we really ever experienced that last year. That wasn't a challenge we faced. I guess we were probably a bit too small at the time.
It wasn't as noticeable because it usually lasted an hour or two. And it hasn't been like this year, or especially last few months, where it will last a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So now there's more chance of people logging in there once a week into their Kanka worlds and noticing that, oh, I have to fill out this click I'm not a robot button every 10 minutes. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that'll be a big challenge, and I guess we'll see how we. Well, I say we, we'll see what you can come up with, because it's not really my specialty.
it is not mine either. I used, as my mustache indicates, I used to manage engineers, not to build servers for thousands of people to log into every day.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, on a more positive note, to close off the review, the yearly review, I just want to touch on some things we hope to achieve by our next anniversary. The first being, as I just mentioned, better infrastructure, so we don't have as many issues doing DDoS attacks, where we could handle a bigger load, or Find a service which will detect attacks earlier and block them off. Several, yeah, I have this plethora of ways I could in plethora of paths I can investigate to try and handle this issue. None of them an easy fix. Um,
There never is an easy fix, sadly.
nope. Secondly, we want to continue growing the community aspect of Kanka, which is ultimately what keeps us growing. Like we, as always, do this because of the amazing community which has sprung out of this project.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, want to imagine world building events to try and get more people participating.
The marketplace as
Um,
well.
the marketplace, of course, a featured campaigns page to try and get more love that way. And just rethinking how people can share their worlds. Have a few crazy ideas in the back of my mind, like creating a shareable link to an entity, which would just share the entity without making the campaign public. For example, just
Ooh.
that would be just one idea, which would be a nightmare to implement. But it is something I've dreamt up this night while I was preparing
That would be pretty
um,
cool.
for this live stream.
Huh. So every now and then Jay's like just tells me something and it's like, oh, it's a great idea, and then like usually 2 days later it's like, well, it's no longer an idea. It now works. It's like recently the features page. He spoke to me about like an idea he had for it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we'd kind of been speaking about doing something like that for a while, and then he just sends me like a screenshot and it's done. And I'm like, what? Oh, Jay.
Uh, that
Anyway, sorry I
happens.
interrupted.
No worries. Um, and yeah, to continue on that train of thought, like ultimately what we want to do is keep making Kanka better, be it this by reworking the interface or the features page you mentioned, make features clearer and easier to use, um, redoing the interfaces to just get the fluff out and focus on what's important to the user, what features are too obscure the way they're implemented and improve them. Unifying how things look, because with a project that's been going on for now 4 years, a lot of interfaces have been built and then new interfaces don't look like the old ones. Sometimes the save button is on the left, sometimes on the right, sometimes the delete button is up, down,
Yeah,
wherever.
that's part of the work
Um,
we've been doing as well with like the new character page and upcoming changes with the profile information coming back. And once that we're happy with where the character page is at, we will move on to the rest. I think it's fair to say.
yeah. Yeah, definitely a focus now is to implement, since from the coming back to the survey, an overwhelming majority said they want the profile information back to
Yeah.
some way on the main story page. That's going to be a focus for uh, the near future.
Yeah, we don't like to give dates, but I think near future is as Jay said is what we're looking at. Like it wasn't a maybe this would be good. It was very much a we want this. So you guys want it? We give it to you.
You guys hold the carrot and the whip.
And yeah, and I guess the
Um,
other thing that we were speaking about when it comes to, I mean, we've spoken about this in the past a few times, so merchandising. Um, and
yes.
I feel like Kanka has probably grown to a point where um, it's something that we now are ready to put in place. We haven't yet really figured out anything more than we want to put it in place. Um, but yeah, that's something we're going to be looking to implement probably before the end of the year. That would be my objective. It's something that's going to fall mostly on my shoulders, and I think end of the year seems like a well before end of the year seems like a pretty good objective for me.
Uh, Jacob has but where's KankaCon going to be then? KankaCon will happen when we can all safely gather
Yeah,
without the risk of making the world a worse place just by gathering.
and yes,
That's
we'll
definitely
do.
something.
Sorry, finish, Jay.
Definitely something that we've been joking about with the community with Jon for forever, and definitely a gathering of some form is something we want to do in the future. And I'll probably be one in. I imagine the day it happens, one will be in Europe and one will be probably in the US because that's our biggest market.
Yeah,
It would be fun to meet you guys and go on stage and throw theatrics and play D&D live in front of, I don't know, anything is possible.
anything is possible.
If
And
Critical Role has taught us anything, it's just anything you can dream of and imagine, you can you can make it work.
but yeah, and to answer the question, yes, Christmas merch. That's probably what the objective. Well, that is kind of the objective. Kankapi is of course going to be prominently featured. Yeah, we're still. I mean, we still. There are two elements to this. First of all, is deciding how we want to put it in place, as in which website we use, and then the second aspect of it is actually just trying to find a designer because we don't want to just like slap our logo on something. I mean, of course, you'll have like the basic with just like the Kanka logo. I personally love the favicon that Kanka has. I would happily wear that. But beyond that, like I think we also want to do some nice things, and I think that will probably mean getting a designer to do something cool with what we have and what we don't have, of course. So if there's anyone in the community who's a designer and wants to work with us on this, feel free to reach out.
That's for the excuse me, the review parts. We have two more little things we want to do and talk about, and we've been going on for an hour.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys are still awake, European friends. Well, you, Jon, too. Um, I've been drinking way too much of my drink. So, Jon, I'm going to have you to ask you to keep community busy while I come back in a couple of seconds.
Sure. Should I talk about any of the talking points, or should I wait for you for that?
Well, next up is the
Yeah, I know what's
release
next.
review.
Oh, is it the
Okay.
release review? I thought it was the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought we were keeping that for the end.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep that for the end. Okay. I'll
Well, you
keep.
can talk about that now,
No,
so
it's
we
fine.
can tell
I
people
will
what.
bore people with merchandising. Don't worry. Go for
Okay,
it.
yeah, talk
And
about our
stats.
ideas for merch. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So actually, first of all, I think what we'll do is, if there are any further questions about anything, feel free to throw them at us. Otherwise, how do I keep you busy? Once again, for those of you who's just joining us, we are facing technical difficulties. As always, I have no access to anything on my computer other than OBS, because every time I alt tab into literally anything, my computer freezes, and the stream freezes. So I am limited to what's inside my head and the notes I've taken over the past few weeks. So feel free to ask questions. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very lonely couple minutes until Jay gets back. But yeah, merchandising, if I sort of expand on that just a little bit, I know we've spoken about it in the past and we hadn't had quite the reaction from the community that we were hoping. So we felt like the time wasn't right back then. I think we last really spoke about it probably about a year ago. And Oh, sorry. Quickly to answer the question, is Twitch working? I don't know. I think so. My restream says it's working, but I don't actually know. But yeah, so we tried like about a year ago, and there wasn't really the reception that we were hoping for. So we never went through with it. But I think, yeah, we've gotten to the point where Kanka has grown enough that it just kind of makes sense. And it makes sense also just like, we all want to kind of wear our Kanka pride. And Kankapi definitely deserves a few t-shirts and
Yes.
mugs. I actually want a mug. Do you know what? It's just like I love our favicon. Like it's it does it for me. I don't know why, but I'm definitely buying well, I guess Twitch isn't working, but I'm definitely buying t-shirts with our favicon. Anyway, we don't want to make this last too much longer, so we're gonna try and keep it to maximum 20 more minutes. The two things we still want to do are much more light-hearted. So feel free to throw any questions, any serious questions you have at us at any point in time. Otherwise, this is just going to be kind of a bit of fun. Well, you know what? Let's start with not the ranking, and then we'll move on to the ranking so people who are fed up can just pretend we don't exist anymore.
Sounds fair.
Yes, we are. I'm Feline Cat Angel. I don't know if there's another Discord username that you use, but yes, t-shirts, mugs. But honestly, like probably a bit more than that. I think in a perfect world, you know, like obviously there are certain things that are more adapted to Kanka, and I think if we could get certain items, like perhaps like a journal for note taking during world building, or for note taking during your sessions, or like Kanka die would be absolutely incredible. But I think we have to be realistic about what's possible, short notice, and sort of mass consumer market. Well, mass, not there are millions of people who want to buy this sort of stuff. But I think if we think more practically about what can be made available reasonably quickly at reasonable prices, I think yes, that your standards. Um, uh, the standard t-shirts, mugs, the standard hoodies, that sort of stuff is what we'd be thinking of in as a first step, yeah. And then moving, depending on how popular that is, moving on into perhaps more niche products, as I say, such as journals, such as dye, that sort of stuff. And that's fine. You don't have to be active on our Discord if you don't want to.
Yeah, new DM dice. You only roll 1s and 20s.
Yeah, roll tables would be cool. Yeah, once again, like these are these are things that we would love to have, but realistically is not it's not something we can do as a first step, because I don't know of an easy to use sort of, like if we did die, for example, we'd have to like order them ourselves, have them shipped to me or Jay, and then ship them over ourselves. I don't know of like a middle man that would do that as you would with t-shirts, hoodies, and the such. I think perhaps journals, there's a bit more options out there. I don't think roll tables is something that there is out there. So these are things that we would love to do, like we really would, but it's definitely more of a a long-term development, because they are very niche products that require a lot more sort of handcrafted. Unless
Yeah.
suddenly we get a massive influx of subs and I get like a 3D printer, and then we have our die making machine.
Yeah, for journals specifically, there's a podcast called Cortex where they make uh, journaling journals for their listeners to buy, and they detail the whole process of how it takes a lot of time, lots of efforts. They have to buy up, um, they have to design them, then buy them, have them developed, buy 1,000, have them stored at their homes, and then send them out to users, do pre-sales, but they never buy enough in advance from the resellers, because if they do a pre-sale before they order the actual books, because the books take forever, several months to half a year to come, uh, it's just a chaotic mess. So journals, wow, would be amazing. That's something where a team of two podcasters who have a fairly big audience, way bigger than our audience, um, they struggled the first couple of years. Um, and it would be something difficult for us to do
Yeah,
at any scale, where it's not just your or my job, full-time job, to take care of that for half a year, and then
yeah,
we sell 10 journals.
yeah. And to answer Ornstein's question, so on Discord, what about something like putting designs up on Redbubble, or something does print on demand? Um, that would be probably the first step. The issue with the Redbubbles of the world is often they will have a time frame for minimum orders. So they will say you need this item to have 10 orders within the next month. Otherwise, none of the orders go through. And no, like it's just everyone gets their money back. So the problem with something like that is that if we never hit that point, anyone who's if we get like 9 instead of 10, and because we're not trying to like mass market this to people who don't use Kanka. I mean, if they don't use Kanka and they like the stuff, they can buy it, of course. But like that's not necessarily we're not going to be marketing towards these people. So I think we're probably thinking more perhaps of something like Shopify or I don't know. But yes, print on demand is the direction we're going. The Redbubble specifically might be complicated. Um, Also, there are shops like Spreadshirt, what I used back in my streaming days. Yeah, as once again I say, it's the same thing. I don't know Spreadshirt. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know their terms specifically. I know Redbubble because I was looking into it back in the day. But yeah, it's about finding one that doesn't have that minimum requirement for everyone to get their purchase, and we'll just blanket sort of send them out. So we will kind of just see how things go. I'll be looking into things. I mean, as I say, Ornstein, this is from what I remember from a year ago when we last looked seriously into merchandising, and I think I looked also early this year. But I definitely need to brush up on my print on demand. And I think I remembered that Shopify was probably the least bad option for us, but it has an upfront cost, like an upfront monthly cost, but that's the price to pay for having these things easily sent and just like one by one, as opposed to having to have a certain number and then all of them are sent out. Yeah, so picking up on something that Waldo's saying, also we need to have something that is available worldwide, or at least EU, US.
EU, US, Canada.
Yeah, Australia, New Zealand would be good. Brazil would be amazing. But so then we come into because like as much as there's no one European country that is at the 32% that the US is, um, all together they stack up. They stack up to probably about the same, if not more than the US. So it's also about finding something. Um, uh, it's about finding something that works for everyone, and that once again I'm not sure I know um, the ins and outs of Spreadshirt, so I don't want to pronounce myself on what they do and don't do. I think, as I say, we revived this idea very, very recently, and I haven't yet fully done my research. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I remember most of the information I'm giving you is based on what I looked at about a year ago, or at the beginning of this year as well. So there's definitely some updating needed when it comes to the information I have. But yeah, we're hoping to put this in place over the course of October, November, so that by December-ish, there's definitely options out there for your Christmas Kanka merch. And maybe we can revive. Actually, Jay, if I remember well, this is way back when, but you did a Christmas-specific Kanka logo based off the first Kanka logo.
Yes.
That might be a limited edition. It was awful. I don't know.
Kanga's original logo was I'm not a designer, but my uncle needed for his small consulting business website a logo. So I did him a few logo designs. And he chose another one. And my favorite that I did for him, I repurposed for Kanka because it was available. And I know I wouldn't have any copyright problems with it.
Hold on, just reading quickly through the comments. Yeah, Ornstein, about smaller businesses that do sort of specifically on-demand stuff, I think that's what we'd be looking at if we look, once again, if we go back to the idea of niche products like, dye, like journals, like roll mats, like that sort of stuff. At that point, we would definitely be targeting these smaller businesses that could ship to either Jay or me, and then from then on, we would ship to people who buy it. But I think that's not the first step for us. That's very much first step is going to be something mass market, print on demand with little to no caveats, even if we have to on our end pay some fee or something, but just something to make sure that we can have our merchandise out to people who want it without there being any requirements or any limitations. And yes, of course, Ornstein will be providing the black market uh, Kanka apparel. The first logo, Jacob is asking if we can.
Oh wait, I'm posting it in the Discord. This is the second logo, I think. Do people remember this logo? And this was the Christmas
Also, for those
version.
of you who are only watching on YouTube, a lot of the comments that have just been said are on Discord. So if nothing that I've been reacting to makes any sense to you, that's why.
And I'm trying to get.
Sure, Cat Angel, just send me a DM. Send me a DM with a time that works for you. I work pretty much every day. And because Kanka's my job, like, I don't know what your time constraints are. Just message me with a time that's convenient for you and we can have a chat.
And this was the old. Whoops. Faricon. This was the logo I did for my uncle.
Yeah, the new logos are incredibly like they're incredible, especially the Favicon. Like it is for me, it's absolutely perfect. I know I've said it about 15 times already in the stream, and I will keep saying it. The new logo is also pretty damn cool. But I mean, I like it. I'm in love with the Favicon.
Yeah. And this is the benefit of Kanka becoming not just a weekend hobby project, but having funds to pay designers to actually make Kanka's logo, Kanka look nice.
Yeah, yeah. The
Because
Christmas one does hurt a little bit on the eyes, doesn't it? I think it's still in our Instagram feed. I think it's like the first or the second post. Let me check because I can use my phone even if I can't use my 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 computer.
yeah, a body pillow. Ornstein, no.
Body
Don't
pillows,
tempt me.
huh?
I know Voldu wants one. She's dying for one, but I feel like that's just too niche. One with Kamkapi and one with full of coins. A pillow case full of just coins.
Yeah.
That would be glorious.
I feel like we'll have to have a
And
talk with Ornstein for all the shit posting if we can use it. Yes, yes. So for those of you who don't have access to the Discord, this is what the first Christmas one looked like, and yes, it hurts the eyes. You'd think that like it's worse that I'm showing it on my screen and I didn't focus well, whatever. No, none of that is legit what it looks like.
good times. There was a Christmas tree in the background. I tried, okay?
I appreciate it, but you know what? Like the lines aren't even straight.
That was on
Like,
purpose. It looks more like a tree.
but I can see the pixels. Like, it's like. I mean, I
Yeah.
suck with paint as well, so I don't even know that I can really criticize. But yeah, there was um there was a good idea in there. There was very good intention more than anything. It is actually the um, first one we ever did. Yeah, multiple side conversations. So let's get back on track.
Yes.
And yes, Cat Angel,
So,
I'm not forgetting. You and I will be in touch. I'll send you a message after the stream. Yes. So now we move on to what we were going to talk about before Jay abandoned me. Um, so yeah, we're actually doing a special event for our 4-year anniversary. Jay, do you
I
want
thought
to
this
take it
was the
away?
event.
Yes, this is the event, but we're doing something special for new time users. We decided on new time users, right? Or did we decide on everyone?
Anyone who
Anyone. Perfect. That's even better.
And so tomorrow will be on the subscription page. When you subscribe to one of our yearly plans, there will be a new field called promo code. And we will release for 2 weeks a promo code which will give you, John, correct me if I'm not wrong, to 20% off your first yearly subscription.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you currently have no sub, and you decide to sub a yearly, the first year you'll get 20% off with this promo code, which will be plastered on the web's every page. There'll be a small banner which you can dismiss, which will tell you the promo code.
Yeah. That's a little something we decided to do. Celebrate a bit of a discount for new users. So yeah, I'm unsure right now because Jay and I have gone back and forth on this a few times. Is it it's new yearly subs, right? It's not new users.
It's new yearly sub. So if you're currently on the monthly plan and you want to switch to a yearly plan, you'll have the option of getting 20% off. And this is valid for owlbears, Vivants, and elemental pledge levels.
Nice.
Apparently, I say, correct me if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, when you work with Jay, you end up realizing he's never wrong. That's what he likes to think. No, jokes aside, cool. So yeah, that's a little present. Well, present. Um, yeah, present for our 4-year anniversary. On top of spending an hour and a half with us.
The
And
promo code will be available, or the promo field will be displayed for, I think, 2 weeks, is what we settled on.
yeah, the rest of the month, the rest of October.
Yeah. So until the end from tomorrow until the end of October, you can enter promo code CanCappy 4 years. It will be on the website, excuse me, to get 20% off your first yearly subscription.
Actually, you were talking about. Oh no, wait, no, nothing. Forget I said anything. So yeah. And now we move on to the final thing, which is just a little bit of fun. I need to go back to the showcase, right?
Yes.
So
So
at this point, it's really just dicking around. But we're going to keep you guys company for another 5-10 minutes, and then I will force Jay to cut. Well, I will cut us off forcefully because it's already been an hour and a half. Like I feel I'm sort of, you know what, I'm impressed that people are still here, A, and that B, we've actually gotten more and more people as the hours have gone by. I'm legit impressed.
I think Salvatos wrote in the YouTube CanCappy 4 years. I think the promo code is Kanka 4 years. I'm not sure anymore. Was it CanCappy? It might
You
be
said
CanCappy.
Kankapi, but I think you were trolling because I don't remember it being Kankapi.
I can yeah, it's Kanka 4 years. Yes. But that will be on the website. Like, we still have 12 hours to change it if you want.
I know you
But
want
yes.
I know you want your bingo, Jacob. No, I did not expect to talk this much. Well, no, you know what?
I
Like
told you.
we did it. I
I told you
expected
2
yeah,
hours.
I expected an hour and a half, and Jay was like, no, it'll be like 2 hours, and I'm like, let's keep it to an hour and a half.
Because the best part at the end is, you know how Twitch streamers, YouTubers, your favorite celebrity does a ranked tier list with things relevant to them? Well, today we are doing for Kanka's 4-year anniversary a ranked release list for Kanka's releases spanning from release 1.0 at the beginning of the year up to 1.16, which came out a week ago. So actually, in 10 months, we've had 16 big releases, which is
That's absurd. That's honestly
very
absurd.
nice. Yes. So
Oh, Cat
trying and keep
Angel.
this.
Sorry, let me just intervene here for a second. You're in for a world of pain right now, but I'm sure our Discord crew will introduce you to what coinks are and what Kankapi is, and welcome to your new religion is all I'm going to be saying. Right, Jay, sorry, take it away.
Take it away. So as usual, S tier is like the top. So if we have a release, it's like the best release of all these 16s. We'll go in S tier. A is very good, B good, C okay, D is meh, maybe passable. Maybe could have skipped it as a main release and just add it into another release. I didn't really think this through much. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to end the 4 years anniversary celebrations with, and get some shit posting done.
Yeah.
So let's start with release 1.0, which introduced the version 1.0, and that was also Summer Notes became the default text,
Ooh.
rich text editor. It was no longer an option, like an advanced option. It was the default, and using the old editor would become a user action. It introduced entity links for boosted campaigns and pinned entity notes. So for pinned entity notes is probably the biggest one, where entity notes, or previous now called posts, would be on a separate tab. There's to be able to put them on the main page view, which for new users won't make any sense. Why would we have it on a separate tab? And you are right. Why was it a separate tab? For historical reasons. But I'd probably put this into an A
Yeah,
for
I'd
the
agree with
moment.
that. I was going to say A.
A is a good place to be. It was a good release. It
It's
started the
symbolic as
year
well,
well.
yeah. Symbolic, sorry, the
Yes.
1.0. No, I think A is good.
Okay. 1.1 released folders for the gallery feature, which is a super boosted feature. Map marker improvements, where there's some few options, a few more options for map markers, and more copy options. Honestly, I don't remember just reading this release any of this
I
stuff.
think C
So
or D, I think.
D.
Okay,
Let's put it
let's
D
sync
for the
it.
moment. We can bump it up later. Next up, 1.2, we had bulk. The problem is I'm just using the image, and I'm not very descriptive of what the release does in the
Yeah,
image.
you'd have to zoom. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I have it open on another window. But bulk improvements, nesting entity abilities. You know what? Kanka 1.2 bulk improvements. Let's maybe just make sure what we're talking about. So
Yes,
bulk
Cat
attribute
Angel,
template.
the clippy Windows thing is very much the inspiration for Kankappy, and it
Yes.
spawned a cult. I did
Yes,
say welcome to your new religion.
he is your world building deity of
Yeah, honestly,
Discord.
like I think Salvatos, like I think that comment is very true. Once again, those of you who are not on Discord right now and are just watching this at a late point in time, I should say that at this point our viewership has devolved into Kankappy memes on the Discord. So
Back to
yes,
this thing.
I
So
don't know that this one's great either.
applying attribute templates to multiple entities at the same time, that was a quite good one, because before you had to go and edit every entity individually. So this made it faster. Abilities. So abilities got a new position field and note field. Characters could import the abilities of their race.
Maybe a solid B
We
then. I don't know that I'd go any higher than that.
Yeah, it's B or C. Sounds good. 1.3 open campaigns and UI improvements. Again, very cryptic. Let's search the blog. 1.3. Oops, I can't use my keyboard apparently. 1.3. Open campaigns is something I've seen users use. So it's definitely, I think this wasn't really asked from our community. It's something I just decided to do. Or was that part of the roadmap?
I don't.
That's when we introduced the Vivant subscription. Okay, yeah. So open campaigns was a cool feature I liked having. We improved the dashboard, the campaign header.
Most of these changes are gone.
We
No. Yeah.
we reworked the quick link configuration,
Yeah.
fixed lots of bugs. Yeah, okay. I feel like 1.3 is a B.
Sure.
B, yeah, open campaigns, some small fixes, improvements seems fair.
Sure.
Now, I think we have a first potential S tier release here, 1.4, which introduced the Vivant Pledge, which, as we mentioned before, has was something from us from our community. We introduced the Vivant Pledge. We introduced Polish as an option for Kanka.
Yeah, but the first iteration of Project Njord wasn't particularly successful, was it? I think the further iterations, like where we've gotten to more recently, has definitely had more impact.
But here's where we started also having a page like about some specific features and the
That's
front
true.
page. So videos and images, for example, how the relations module work or timelines.
Yeah, still a A or B for me. I don't think I'd put this S personally.
So we introduced several announcements displayed on the dashboard. This was when was this? March. It feels like this was yesterday.
It really does. I was like, wait, Wyverns were in March?
But yeah, okay. I go A. Doing
Sure.
A and B. Yeah, that sounds fair. Just having a quick look at the Discord if there's anything.
Nothing. I can see the chat on the Discord,
Okay.
and it's still devolved into Kankapi.
Okay. 1.5, which just based on the image doesn't really tell me what exciting new features. Improved markers. So new features for maps. We introduced polygon marker. Size, opacity, and color for the border. Nothing exciting. Custom radius for the circle marker, which was requested many times. Copying a map, you can now copy the elements option. Why is it called elements and not markers? Anyway. Because it copies everything. Okay. We introduced hard exact matches for search drop downs.
Polygons.
Okay. Advanced mentions and attribute passing. You can now reference attributes of an entity by name. And custom notes on and abilities. Yeah, okay. Nothing very exciting. Attributes can now be an icon from Font Awesome and RPG Awesome. Remove the old API v1 routes. Yeah, this is nothing. A C. I feel like that's okay. Like it was an okay.
It existed.
Now 1.6 attributes on steroids. This is when we introduced referencing attributes in all directions, being able to do
Ooh.
references, calculations based on references, based on references. So this is probably, I think this just goes to S tier.
I
This
think so. I
is
was gonna say A if it's a bad day, otherwise it's S.
Lampo says 1.4 was amazing. You might have just mentioned that. I hear
We've
my own
got
thoughts at
both
this point.
Waldu and Karen Ampos who were like 1.4. That's a bold statement. That's all I'm gonna say.
But yeah, 1.6 attributes on steroids alone is S tier. And we did improvements to the marketplace. That's all secondary. 1.4, it's all about dashboards. 1.7, sorry. Can still not type in this search field. It's all about dashboard. So new features for dashboard. Boosted campaigns, having some new options for dashboard and entities. Oh, this is when we introduce show attributes and show members on the preview widgets of dashboard. That was okay. allowed filters to be set, which is also cool. So dead characters, for example. New interface for the campaign header. That's nothing except fun. Kanka in Dutch. This is when I introduced the new drop-down menu for identity views, which is something I'm really happy with, and something I've been introducing in other interfaces as I redo them. Instead of having several buttons, having a drop-down with text to make them less cryptic. And also bulk editing, like bulk actions were all merged into a
That's
single
pretty
drop-down.
good.
These were good UI changes, I think. Will do. And since I'm a whore for dashboards, 1.7 was my S tier. I think, yeah, between the dashboards, I find the UI, this is a good update. I wouldn't say it is. Yeah, between an A. This was a good update. You agree, John?
Yep. So it was solid.
Okie dokie. 1.8.
Sorry,
Marketplace.
I let you take over for a second while I'm replying to some of the.
No worries. 1.8 Marketplace content packs and Quest 1.1. Quest 1.1 is when quests used to be you had 4 subpages: quest characters, quest locations, quest items, quest organizations. This update merged them all and allowed you to link any entity in your campaign to quests. So it could be tags, it could be races, it could be timelines. Like, it no longer constrained it to just one entity type. It simplified a lot of the interfaces, merged the things together. So this was for quests a good update, I think. Content packs we mentioned on the marketplace earlier. Hasn't been as used as much as we
No,
hoped.
but we were still psyched about it back when it happened. So
Yeah, so I think this is a solid B. I think the quest improvement outshines the content packs the way they are now,
sure.
or the way they were on release. So a decent update. Next, Kanka 1.9 had calendars, reminders, and marketplace changes. So based alone on the word calendar, I feel like this is an S tier for
Yeah, it wasn't that was the
90%.
big rework for the calendars, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the moon cycles. Yeah, this is gonna be S.
Oh, this was such a nightmare to build.
Yeah. This is S.
So yeah, about the visibility, being able to control more in detail the visibility of reminders and recurring based on full moon and new moon. Jacob, bingo.
Yeah. Suddenly the bingo. I mean, if we were going to review all the releases, there was going to be mention of calendars.
Yeah. Also introduced the dot drop down for calendars instead of the 3 buttons on hover, which were confusing and just icons and not really told what they did. This allowed it. What am I even speaking?
Who
Yeah,
knows?
okay. Let's just
Yeah,
people happy calendar S tier.
exactly.
It's no need to go more details. Next, Kanka 1.10. This was the new entity view. This was all the work of Rick and the new design for the entity view. This was just at the end of spring.
It was early June, I want to say.
June 18th. Oh, okay. Yeah, just at the end of spring. Yeah. Summer starts on the 21st.
Getting all
So
technical
this
just
was
to make sure it's still right. I think this probably has to be S, if only just for the intent. Even if it wasn't necessarily received the best, and even if there are going to be follow-up changes, I think just in the way that it has completely changed the way that Kanka functions and the way that you interact with your character page and just pages in general, I feel like it's probably one of the more impactful ones we've released in the last few months.
Mhm. Yes, it's definitely laid a lot of groundwork for new, for Kanka's future.
Yeah, drastic yet needed update. Once again, we didn't get everything right, and obviously we're going to make adjustments to make sure that we tweak things properly. But it was a huge step in a new direction.
Yeah.
Sorry, Salvatos.
Oh, and it also fixed a bug which I'd forgotten. That during the backup twice a day, it froze the server for like a minute,
Oh,
and this update fixed it. Which probably most people didn't realize, but I remember getting frustrated.
1.11.
Yes. 1.11. Entity image focus point. So this was a change
Ooh,
based on
this was not
1.10.
liked. This was not liked.
No, 1. Did it? No, because 1.10 introduced that it automatically tries to focus on a face, and 1.11 addressed the issue that it's a AI built for human faces, so had
Oh yeah, yeah,
difficulty.
because we got a lot of flack. There were a lot of angry people.
Yeah. We also got some flack here because we put this as a boosted feature campaign.
Yeah.
And there's some unhappy users with that choice. But this fixed, yeah, probably the biggest issue with the new entity headers, or just the crops in general. Because even before 1.10, it would always crop in the center and not be very useful. So there now at least there's the option to set the focus manually. I'd say this is like a
C.
B, because like this feature is good, but it didn't do. There wasn't a lot more exciting stuff. It was
C. We need to spread
done
the
at the
love a
same
bit.
time. 1.12 Relation Explorer mode. So this was the introduction that on the Explorer page for boosted campaigns of an entity, there instead of having just one mode showing the relations, but you can have the related elements and the mentions as options. So this was something which came up a few times, like having a view. How is my entity connected to the world in a visual manner, in a global, like having a full picture between relations, related, and mentions. So this added that. This is also when we reworked a lot of submenus, because characters used to have a gazillion submenus like locations, families,
Yes.
organizations, items. This is where we all packed it in the connections page and added a new related table to that interface. So
It was a pretty good update.
yeah, a dashboard love again, show pinned relations, being able to show it. Yeah. We added the option to change the folder of an image in the gallery. Did some
Well, do you think this is a
mention
C?
improvement. It fixed some bugs. Yeah. Waldo says this is a C. Relation Explorer. I don't use the relation thing much. It's a nice thing, but as with most boosted features campaigns, it's not a needed tool. I usually use the relations table.
Yeah, the focus thing was very contentious.
Where do we see 1.12? I can't decide. It depends on your usage. For me, yeah, it's between a C and a B. The other stuff, like some good bug fixes, the mentions, you can now mention a field of an entity, for example, a character's title.
It just, there was some negative feedback. It wasn't necessarily the most impressive. Let's just go for C.
Are you talking about the focus point? That was 1.11, which we put in B.
No, but there was a follow up. Like the follow up wasn't loved because, I mean, neither.
That was 1.11, which we put in B. Okay, we put 1.11 in C and 1.12
Okay,
in
let's
B.
do that.
It would have a lot of small improvements.
Let's do that.
Okie dokie. This is a democratic process. 1.13, post role permissions. This was on posts. You could only set the specific permissions for users, and this introduced the same feature for roles. So this was something from a community vote, and we renamed also entity nodes to posts to avoid some confusion. We added a permission. I redid a bit the interface. We added the location field on post. We also added the dates of created and modified.
Yeah,
Um,
solid, but not game changing. I think.
One thing which people went bonkers about is being able to say the campaigns set on the campaign if everything is nested by default or not. So let's say for my campaign, when you click on locations, it always opens the nested feature,
Yeah.
nested interface, which is something which came up a million times. Quick links. We added the Kanka tag ID and Kanka tag name of mentions
As I
now.
say, I think it's a solid one, but I don't know that it was like the flashiest.
Yeah, I'd say a B.
B sounds fair.
Decent B. Yeah.
Right, Jay, I'm going to move us on a bit quickly because I really want to keep this to 2 hours.
Okay. 1.14, which was printing entities, is when we did the whole export. And this is 1.14.1 for some reason. We can skip that one. 1.14, printing entities, I feel like it was a necessary
Yeah,
update.
it was A. I think
because
that's a solid one.
Yeah.
It'd been requested for a while. I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's all we need to say. 1.15. This is a recent relations management at mention in attributes marketplace posts. So this was the new tool to see all the relations of a campaign. Also being able to do at mentions in attributes and no longer rely just on advanced mentions. I feel this is like an A to an S tier for large campaigns with lots of relations.
Yeah, I'd say A.
A, yeah. And lastly, this is last release we
The
did,
most recent one.
1.16, most recent one done Monday, 6 days ago. A massive update, bulk transforming entities, edit warning when you're editing an entity, API filters, notification overhaul, campaign CSS split, entity header improvements, tweak the inventory interface, and more.
S or A?
I feel like, yeah, it did a lot. Like it did a lot of smaller things. It didn't. There's no one big massive feature.
The newest release is always
Will
the
do.
best
Yeah,
one.
exactly. I feel like the test of time will put it in between A and B because there's lots of nice stuff, but bulk transform isn't something used a lot. Edit warning is useful if you have multiple DMs or people on Kanka all day long. API filters will be really good for select number of users. The new notifications are nice, but will be improved again in the future. Campaign headers will be improved again in the future. Inventory will be improved again in the future. I feel like an A.
A sounds fair.
All
A
right.
sounds fair. Yeah, that's quite a bit of ranking. You know what? Like, despite there are a few S's, reasonable amount of A and
Yeah.
B, and of course some are going to be misses.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we have lots of cool features to work on, and sometimes these features get lots of views, and sometimes they don't. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like a bingo, a Kanka bingo. You never know if you'll get it or if you'll get a checkers board or
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, hopefully 1.17 will have like a few of the changes related to the profile stuff. So hopefully we can bump that up to an S. If it's not 117, it'll be 118, given our release cycle ish.
Mhm. Yeah, Discord
It's blown up.
is blowing up with shit posting, which is
It's what
as
we
it
want from
should be.
Discord.
Jacob asked 4 minutes ago, was it this one, the link he posted in Discord? Yes. The new text editor, summon notes.
Yeah, some of that was a big change. Is the other one still technically usable if you choose it in your options?
It's still an option. Some users still use it because it has better table support, but one day it'll just stop working because it's old software.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about
and
that, sadly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a
Wow.
long 2 hours
2 hours.
chat, as I predicted.
Okay. I'm sure you dragged it out long enough to be right. That's my intimate conviction.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've covered pretty much everything like several times over. If there are any last minute questions, we're happy to take them. But otherwise, I mean, we're anyways going to be available on Discord for any follow-ups or anything. But otherwise, I think that's all that we on our end had to say or wanted to say.
Oh, Onshing is saying the release of Summer Note was the one which had a birthday introduced. So it was a good release, but sadly didn't. It was before 1.0, so it wasn't covered by this little game ranking.
Yeah, and Karen Ampos is saying 2 hours to go. Honestly, like if we were to do a 4 hour stream, I'd get murdered. I think Jay would too.
She's out on the at the market, so
Yeah, no.
yeah, let's keep it at 2 hours. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope you all
Yeah,
had fun. Thanks for enduring, or not enduring. What's the
enjoying
word
perhaps.
when people go along with our silly
Yeah,
ideas?
endure.
In
It can work.
endure. There's another term. Like when a toddler, you're like, okay, I'll play with this toddler make believe.
I don't
It
know.
might be endure.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
10 o'clock on a Sunday here. I can't say I'm as focused as I was 2 hours ago.
of course. All right, we'll see you guys latest in a month for November's Q&A.
Yeah,
Hopefully by then we have some updates on merchandising and the new changes to the entity story page. Humoring, there's another one. But yeah, it starts with an E, I think.
putting up with
Bearing.
bearing.
Anyway, I'll remember in a couple of hours and just post it on Discord randomly. It was this word. So yeah, see you in a month with hopefully many
Yeah,
more great updates.
thanks everyone, and find us on Discord. Socials below as always, and thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye.